Hello everyone, welcome back to Old Dad's Modeling Mess. In today's video, I finish off the first of one of my bucket list builds, and I think it turned out great. I've learned a few things along the way, and I even got to mess with the stick-on Zimmerit, which was actually kind of cool, if I'm not lying. It sure is a time saver, that's for sure. What I have planned for this build is, and I don't know why, but maybe it's just because winter's coming up. I'm going with a winter theme, if you couldn't tell by the picture there. But I do plan on priming it, painting it, and doing a camo before I cover it up with the white. I want to see if I can get the regular camo parts of it to show through the white after chipping it, if you know what I mean. So yeah. Basically, as you can see, I'm pretty much starting off where the last video ended. And I don't know about you guys, but be honest with me. How many of you guys kind of put stuff on there and hold it up and look at it and check it out, and you're like, okay, it's actually, yeah, I like this. I mean, come on now. I can't be the only one. Let me know in the comments below if you guys do this too, because yeah, I do this a lot when I'm building a model. So yeah, I want to, seriously, I want to make sure that it's going in the direction that I want it to go. I want it to look, I want to make sure that it's going to look the way I wanted it to look, So, yeah. And to start things off, now we get to start adding on all these little bits and bobs, or pieces, or parts, however you want to call it. Today's been a good day, so yeah, let's have some fun with this. I honestly have no idea what those two parts are. I really don't. I don't know if they're there to kind of hold the armor plates on until it gets welded for the crew compartment, or what it is. If you guys know, let me know, because I yeah, I have no idea. And it's, there's a couple flat bars that go on the front there on an angle by the gun. I have no idea what those are either. But yeah, I'm just looking at the instructions and I'm gluing parts on where they're supposed to go, where it tells me. If you guys don't see this yet, I'm trying to get this part in, and I'm having problems. And the reason why is when I did the Zimmerit, I just put a little slit there. And, I wasn't thinking. I was just like, oh yeah, I'll just put a little slit there. It'll slide right in. But apparently, the thickness of the Zimmerit getting squished into that hole with the part that fits exactly into that hole doesn't work out. I don't know if you guys know that yet or not, but if you don't, now you do. There was several of those, and when I was putting them on there, I really didn't know what the hell they were for. I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, okay, I'm putting these on. They look like some sort of a hook or a holder and stuff, and then later on I realized that they're for the tow cables. And then but I didn't figure that out until a little bit later on, when I added the ones that were on different angles, where the tow cable wraps up around it and then curves back and goes towards the front. Because I was like, why the hell are these supposed to go in upside down here, and stuff like that. So yeah, you learn a little bit of stuff here and there when you're doing these here. And hey, that's all part of the game, right? Back here, these are for the spare track. And when I was actually putting these on, I was thinking of if there's enough of the leftover parts of the track, maybe I'll do some track armor somewhere, you know, just for shits and giggles to use it all up. And spoiler alert, there was, but I didn't know at the time because, as you can see off to the side there, I haven't even started the tracks. But you know how it is, as you're building and you're working on a part for something, you start thinking. Yeah, that's what I did. I was like, ooh, you know what? What if I did this? And so basically, that's what I did. Yeah. It's not the grandest of all kits, you know, like the Tac-On King Tiger with all the stuff, but it, believe it or not, it had quite a few pieces, and that one there, I decided to just it didn't need it, throw it on the ground. No, I'm joking. I didn't realize it, and I don't remember in the directions where I should have drilled out holes for the little block there, but I fixed that with just nipping off the little pins that would have went in the holes that I should have drilled out, but didn't know I needed to drill out until now when it was time to put it together. But the yeah, that was different. Now the jack there, that was I kind of like that, how they did that there, because normally I like to fill the fenders up with stuff. I don't like a lot of stuff or a lot of open space on the fenders, but with the way the crew compartment and stuff is so wide, I didn't need to do that, because by the time you do put the tow cable on there and all of that, that eats up what little bit of real estate there is. And then I don't know if you noticed it there, but when I was first looking at it and I held that part of the front fender up, I didn't know if I was actually going to put that on or not. Spoiler alert, I do, but at the time I didn't know, so I wasn't worried about making sure that I had all that sort of stuff up on them fenders. So seeing the way that they did the jack there, I was like, that's actually kind of neat, because most of the time they're up on the fenders, or like with the Panther, it's on the back. But I thought that was kind of neat, something you don't see all the time. So yeah, here I'm messing around with the trying to get the hatches off and covers so I can start putting them on. Another one of those times where I was trying to think ahead and test fit things before I actually glued them on. I probably could have left that off, or unglued actually, if you think about it, because all the trouble I had trying to get it off of there. But yeah, these hatches, I'm not sure what they're all for. I mean, I know the two big ones are for the crew and stuff like that. Those there, I have no idea what they're for. Same as the back. I don't think anybody ever mentioned what that little bitty hole in the very back of the thing is. Not the big hole with the rivets on it and stuff, but the little itty bitty one. I don't know if that's just for ventilation or if that's for them to be able to throw out the empty shell casings or not. And same with those two there in the back on the top. Now that hatch there I did cover up, and I do add the commander, so that's why I didn't put the top on there on the cupola yet, but yeah, I'm not the greatest when it comes to the miniature figures. I absolutely suck ass when it comes to those. So you probably won't see that in the video, but I do kind of almost paint him and put him on there. So there is that. But yeah, now it's time to start getting the covers and the hatches, get all them on. This way here we can actually start seeing some results here, because with what I've got going on in my mind on how I want to do this paint job, I'm trying to get everything just as perfect as I possibly can. So, you know, like I said, you see me, I'm test fitting everything, making sure that it goes where it's supposed to go. You know, kind of unlike the base for the gun, where, you know, I may have almost glued it in the wrong spot backwards. But that's just going to be our little secret. You didn't hear that. These here, no clue what they're for, but hey, something that goes up there, so make sure that they get in there and glued up. If any of this stuff that I don't know what it is, if you guys know what it is, hey, don't be afraid. Let me know down in the comments, because I have no clue what those three covers there were for. So now it's time to finish off the cupola, get that going, and then pretty soon it's going to be almost time for paint. Now, if you haven't noticed, there's been like a week gap since the last little edit there, because, you know, I've been working on this here and there, in between builds on the channel and stuff like that, just when I needed a break from something else. So yeah, if you notice things are different or whatever, or there's more done or something like that, again, I didn't know for sure if I was actually gonna turn this into a build series or not. This was, as I said, it was one of my bucket list builds, and I was just working on it when I can, and when I wasn't frazzled or anything, or having a bad day. So if it jumps around a little bit, sorry, but yeah. Now these here, I was trying to figure out exactly what the hell they were for, and then I can't remember, I think it was Reimagined Models was working on one of his builds, and he said something about the it clears the mud out of the wheels and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. You know, keeps it from getting there and all that. As you notice, I still haven't added that other fender on yet. But like I said, I still wasn't to the point where I had decided that I was going to do that, because I'm hoping that with the way that the paint turns out and stuff like that, that it looks like it's battle worn. You know, the fenders are going to be dinged up, bent up, stuff like that. And, you know, I thought, ooh, that would be kind of neat, just leaving that whole front part of the fender off. But I changed my mind. Now these things here, they weren't hard to get on, but it did make it a little bit difficult getting the drive sprockets and stuff like that, and the idler wheels on, just because of the way that they're shaped. I did have to bend them after everything was all said and done. So yeah, there's that. They were just that much in the way. Now, my little commander there, he's not sitting right, and I don't know exactly. Oh, yeah, Yeah, I do. I know exactly why he's not sitting right. Instead of having the binoculars hanging from his neck, I have them in his hand. But I added a little piece of balsa wood to the bottom of him, so now he stands up straight. So now I'm checking things out, and get ready for it. It's about to happen. Are you ready? There we go. It's been a couple of weeks since I got the build actually done, and as you can see off camera, I did the running gear and all that stuff. I primed it, I painted it, and I did the camo. And everything up to that point had went really, really almost perfect. And of course, with, you know, me being me, old dad, I did make one little mistake there when I was painting the camo. I don't know if you noticed it, but, well, here, let me explain it. I got the, I was doing the green. It was the very last color I was doing on the camo. And I got done, and I was sitting there spinning it on the little tray thing in the booth, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, you know what? That looks exactly the way I wanted it to. That's perfect. And I just wasn't even thinking. I looked at my airbrush, and I looked down in the cup, and it was empty. I'm like, well, holy crap. That's never happened before. Normally either I run out or I, you know, have way too much. And I'm like, that's cool. Hell yeah. Wow. First time I've ever done that, you know? And so I shook it, and as I shook it, I accidentally hit the trigger. Can you guess what happened? I know you can see it if you go back and look at them pictures, but there's some green dots all over it. And the whole time I was shaking it and I hit the trigger, I was still spinning it, so it got on a little bit of all of it. But yeah. I, just as a warning, guys, don't shake your airbrush and hit the trigger when you're done painting, because you could have an accident like I did. For me, though, it didn't actually matter because I knew I was going to cover it all up with white anyway, and that's basically what I did. I let it dry for 2 days just so everything was good and taken care of. I hit it with a nice good coat of clear. I let that dry for another day or two, and then I hit it with a really heavy coat of chipping fluid. A couple more days went by, and then I hit it with the white, and I stopped there. And then I think it was like, I'm going to say probably close to 4 or 5 days before I got to the chipping. And then, let me tell you, I almost had to rethink my life choices because I spent 3.5 hours chipping this thing. Wanting to make sure, you know, I get the normal wear and tear spots, but also making sure that I get a little bit of all the different camo colors, you know, showing up and through it, stuff like that. Something that I, you know, in the grand scheme of things, when I first thought of it, I was like, oh yeah, not a problem. But, you know, I don't really think things through completely before I do them. So, yeah, 3.5 hours of chipping, and no, I'm not gonna make you guys suffer with me like that. I did that with the last video. But yeah, this one here, I think the chipping went pretty well. I got what I wanted chipped, and I don't think I overdid it. I think I got it looking like it, you know, was, you know, normal wear and tear and a little bit of battle damage, you know, on there. So yeah, at this point, on the left there, you can see that little piece of track that goes on the back here, but I haven't added. I've got 4 big pieces of track left after doing the running gear and stuff, and so I'm going to use all 4 of them on here as, you know, spaced or track armor, and 2 of them are going to be right there on the back side of the crew compartment, and they're going to be hanging down. So I don't show it, I don't believe, but I just used some homemade photo etch hooks that I made and hung them on that. But yeah, as you can see here, there's a lot of space on this thing for chipping, and I wanted to make sure that I got the jack there and the hooks and stuff like that, you know, because I mean, can't forget about that. Getting those little underparts there for the I guess the exhaust cover, muffler cover, whatever you want to call it there, because the mufflers don't stick out of that. But I wanted to make sure that I got that too, so I did all that, and it was actually, I was kind of, I'd watched videos and people said that they had issues with the stick-on Zimmerit and, you know, painting it and chipping it and stuff like that, and I was trying to be as careful as I could, so that's why you see me going kind of light on stuff. You know, I don't want to, you know, sometimes when you use that chipping fluid, the water can get up underneath there and just undo a whole big piece of it, and with as thick of a coat as I went with it, you know, that was actually a very good possibility, we'll just put it that way. But it actually went really well. I'm trying to get underneath the commander's hatch there, you know, just anything that I think that, you know, if somebody was to come over and look at it, you know, I mean, I know that they're not actually going to pick it up and look underneath of it and stuff like that, but for me, I wanted to get that. If you notice there, I did not camouflage or paint the bottom part of the hull. As I was doing some of the research and stuff like that, I found out that later on, especially late in the war, that the Germans didn't always do that, especially if this was like out in the field and stuff, and they did modifications where they added the winter camo and stuff like that. They never painted back there, so I didn't either. But now we're on to the rusting and stuff like that. This was all pigments pretty much. I had done the hold on, had I done this? I can't remember if I've done it at the when I did this here, when I was doing the rust effects on this here. I don't know if I had actually done the oil paints, tried those yet or not on that Bulldog, that Walker Bulldog. I can't remember if I had done that yet. I don't think so. But yeah, I'm just going along here, and I'm just using the pigments, and I'm trying to put a little bit of some color on there and everything. Those tracks there, they were that bronze-ish color, I guess. And the way that I did the tracks was I left that, and then I dry brushed them with the gunmetal. And then once all that was done, I just used the, I think it's either AK or Vallejo, one of the two, their track wash, and then I just washed it. And then once I got that, I went back in with a white wash over it just to kind of lighten it up some. Because I won't lie, I kind of went a little heavy with the track wash. Now I'm just trying to get all the spots that would have rusting and stuff like that, get that taken care of. As you guys can see, I've added the extra track armor on there that I was talking about. I put it 2 pieces on the front where the engine deck is, and then the 2 pieces back there. And I tried to keep the pieces that were on the front on the engine deck, I kept them off of the vents. That way there, I mean, I don't think they would have put it over the vents, but I guess you could have. I don't know. I was just thinking. I've added I've added the decals too. Holy crap. Got that spit out finally. And I think these were more Panzer Division. The insignias were anyway. I can't remember which one it was, but they're from a different kit, I believe. I could be wrong. I don't know. I've got so many extra decals that I can't keep up with them. But as you can see, I've got the tow cables on and all that. And once I get the main part of the weathering going here, I think you guys will like how it turns out. I know that the pigments and stuff look a little bright right now, but they'll tone down once I set them in place and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of tried to be careful but go as far as I could, and you guys all know how tricky of a slope that is. I kept her going, but I had to make it look like it was out there in the field. Got to. Well, maybe you don't have to, but you guys know me by now. I have to push it, right? Well, now, in my defense, some of this stuff's actually going to get covered up with the next step here. And so, I can, if I do take it just a little bit too far, I'll be able to, I'll be able to remedy that situation. But so far, it's going exactly how I wanted it to go. This is one of those builds that, besides that, me, being a few sandwiches short of a picnic there with the gun at the beginning of the build, other than that, this thing is, it's went absolutely exactly how I wanted it. No issues, and yeah, I'm doing each little stage here and there, and in between builds for the channel and stuff like that. And I'm this taking your time thing is actually really good, I guess, apparently. Because normally I push through the build and I get it done, but like I said earlier, this has actually been a really good learning experience for me, because I see what I can do and I absolutely love it. Now comes the part where I'm hoping I don't screw up. And yeah, this is adding the snow effects. And I kind of start off a little easy here because I'm so far I am everything's turning out right, and I'm just absolutely afraid I'm gonna fuck it up. So I got to be careful, and make sure, okay, is that too much? Is that not enough? And trust me, as things get going, I start easing up because I don't know why I was thinking that this part here was actually going to be difficult, but you know, my wife had mentioned something about, she goes, because she came in and she was asking me some questions, and I said something to her, you know, and I was like, I'm trying to be careful, and she goes, well, don't you do the same thing when you do the mud? And it I don't know, it was like a big slap in the back of the head, you know, a Gibbs slap, you know, like, hey, wake up. And once I thought of it like that, I was like, oh shit, she's right. Okay, well, I'm just going to start acting like this is mud. And besides the fly, it went really smooth. You know, I mean, if you're doing a winter theme, I mean, I guess you can't really have too much snow, can you? Unless you cover up all the whole thing with it. But yeah, that wasn't the plan. So yeah, it went on there. I was able to, I think I did this in maybe like an hour and a half, because, you know, like I said, I was still somewhat cautious, but, you know, with thinking of it as mud, I was like, okay, mud normally is on the bottom and stuff like that. It's not really up on the top, so I could put some here and I could put some here, and, you know, it's just, where can I get away with putting this at since it's snow and not mud? And, you know, there was a lot of places you could put mud, or snow, I should say. I mean, this thing is ginormous, so yeah, there was plenty of real estate, and I think it really added to the whole winter look. There, I'm like, okay, let me move some of this here and move some of that there, and you know, because I figured right there under that spot would be where, you know, those, whatever those little bars are that are on the angle, anything that was on the top of it that melted, and on the front of it that ran down and hit that, would run down to that area. So, you know, I'm just, wherever there's a good spot at, throw some snow on it and get going. And then I don't think I went too much farther with it on this here, but then we'll get to the tracks and the wheels here in a minute. But it was fun. I'll just put it that way. It was a lot of fun messing with the snow, because in my mind, you know, I had already had plans on building that last T-34-85 that I have, that Airfix kit. I already had plans on doing it up in a winter theme also, to kind of go with the Sioux, because originally I thought about putting the two of them in a diorama, but I'm not going to do that. I'm still going to stick with the winter theme, but I'm just not going to add the Sioux into it. Maybe I'll do a different diorama for that one, where it's actually fighting another tank or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I can make like a little mini explosion coming out of the end of the barrel there, with the projectile coming out. You know, I don't know. Those are the type of things I think of as I'm doing these builds and stuff. But with this one here, I don't know if I'm going to do a diorama with it or not. I might someday later on, but just for now, I thought this will be perfect. It's doing exactly what I want it to do. The snow's coming out really, really nice. I just, man, like I said, and keep saying, it just, it went so nice. I mean, this thing here was the build, even though it took me a few months because, you know, I worked on it here and there, whatever. It went really nice and easy, almost like when building the Tamiya Sherman there, because you know it's kind of like a base kit, or the Panther base kit. Those there were just, you know, quick, easy, fast models to do and stuff like that. And this one, it wasn't fast, but it just fell together, I guess is a better way of saying it. But yeah, it was good fun. I got to learn a lot of stuff, and I really like this snow. I think that when I do the diorama for the T34, I'm going to have snow on a lot of stuff, so I may have to order another bottle of it because I'm going to use a lot. Got a shed, a tree, a tank, a wall, you know, so there's a lot there. But this one here, I won't lie, I cheated right there on the tops because you can't see up underneath there anyway, so I got the snow on the edges. Yeah. The backs, you know, wherever you could see it, where it wasn't touching the road, or the ground, I should say, I put snow on it, and yeah, she turned out, I believe, really, really good. And I hope you guys do too. If you guys think I missed something or could have done better, let me know in the comments. But as always, guys, I've held you hostage long enough. Thank you for watching my videos. If you like this sort of stuff, don't be afraid. Drop a like and a comment down below. And if you're not already, consider subscribing. I don't know why you wouldn't, but hey, do it. It's free. All you pay is when you get a notification when I post new videos. And it helps the channel grow. And we're growing. We're close to 300. We can still reach our 500 subs by the end of the year because you guys are absolutely awesome. Yeah, really, you are. So let's make this happen. And finally, in the description box down below, there is a link to our Discord. Yep, we have a Discord. Join up. It's just like subscribing. It's free. Come in, hang out with us. More importantly, post pictures of your builds. Check out the pictures of our awesome builders. And until the next video, guys, enjoy the glamour shots. I will see you later. Bye-bye.